I slowly moved from national level to AP level, and from AP level, yeah, I moved to a worldwide level of
Global. Yeah.
global. And the two three things I want to talk about here is
Sure.
the first is the culture, because when you
Mm.
move from very regional sort of case management and people management.
Now, you've mentioned that you've mapped customer journeys across markets and cultures, and you've definitely, with experience and the research that you've put in, you've talked about pain points and all that experience. Hello and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders. I'm your host, Priya George, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with someone who's redefined customer experience and digital transformation on a global scale. Joining us today is Mr. Sourav Ganguly, a senior leader with nearly 3 decades of experience across Lenovo, Acer, and Modi Olivetti, from pioneering premier service delivery for premium customers across Asia Pacific to leading global knowledge management strategy. He's delivered impact that speaks in numbers. Over $1 million in monetization from L&D tools, 10% year-on-year ROI through in-house AI automation, and a legacy of high-performance teams across 4 continents. But what truly sets him apart is his ability to fuse people, process, and platforms, whether it's mapping customer journeys or integrating service tools across global ecosystems. So, if you are ready to hear what it takes to lead at scale, leverage AI for transformation, and future proof the customer experience, stick around. Saurav, it's an absolute honor to have you here with us on FaceTime with Leaders. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for welcoming me, and let's have a good discussion.
Absolutely. So, without further ado, let's get straight to it. As we get started, we'd love for you to take us back a bit and tell us, how did it all begin for you? What were some of the early experiences, values, or turning points that shaped the leader you are today?
Great. So let me, before I start my journey of my professional career, let me talk a little bit about my start of my life. When I just passed out of college and joined Modi Olividi as the first working professional, basically a tech person. And
Right.
at that point of time, a couple of things happened. Means I was a fresher, so I was into a project which is one of the leading projects in India. That time, Metro was coming in Kolkata, and that was the first journey of people underground, and a lot of automation was going through computerization, software, and different systems and integration from people from the company and from the seniors. So
Right.
I was within the team, and I was a little perplexed in the initial phase of time, but slowly, I started emerging within the system, started learning better of the
Mm,
technologies. And it was very interesting for me to go through the journey in the first phase of time. And
mm,
the best thing what I learned or I got in the initial stage is the confidence and the blessings of the people around me. That yes, you can
right.
do it. And you be with us. You will learn better. You can deliver it.
Mm,
And that I think was very crucial at that point of time. Made me more curious
mm,
about learning things new, because not
mm,
in the current era where everybody is going through online chat
mm,
GPT, Gemini, and click of a button you get thousands of summary of information. At that phase
right.
of time, things were more integrated, critical. You have to read books, you have to refer to people, create notes, and then learn about things. But that was a
Correct.
good journey to start with.
I
And
agree.
maybe through that journey, I have gone through and stepped to a learning experience which made me more acceptable to the next part of my journey. So next phase of phase when he started in Acer, obviously this journey helped me to migrate it back to the next company, but it
Hmm.
was mostly to do with people management,
Hmm.
uh, getting through little bit of board meetings
Hmm.
within the company and within the stakeholders, the customers, the enterprise people,
Hmm.
and it started everything as a regional level. So
Hmm.
in the initial phase, it is more of a branch and region. Then
Hmm.
as I have grown, I moved to a more national level player. And
Okay.
that point of time, there were different verticals which are defined, like consumer customers, commercial customers, and how the customer behavior were enabling the business to grow,
Hmm.
and how we can manage it from the service delivery perspective. So that way has given me an impetus to understand the team management, the business as a
Yes.
whole, how to generate revenue, how to
Absolutely.
grow further to the phase of life. And
Right.
when I stepped into this particular juncture, I
Hmm.
was talking about getting more challenges in life and getting it more interesting. Then I moved to
Hmm.
Lenovo. Lenovo culture was absolutely different in
Hmm.
the sense, when I landed up, it was a transition of earlier IBM days to Lenovo days, and that time there was a perfect storm. Perfect storm in the sense I talk about mostly when customers are more demanding, but our systems
Hmm.
and tools are not that good enough to manage that at that point of time.
Right.
But
Right.
we started learning from there, and we started behaving more resilient, and
Hmm.
we driven a project. Maybe we changed our project name from a normal name to a good to great project, and we
Hmm.
made everybody aware that the culture, the fitment of customer requirements are more important to take
Hmm.
this to the next level. And it took
Hmm.
some time to settle down, but definitely with a lot of perseverance, people, management, stakeholders help, and as a large organization, it started growing more
Right.
robust and more business oriented.
Right.
It took us to the level where we can deliver and bring confidence back from the customer. And
Right.
I slowly moved from national level to AP level, and from AP level, yeah, I moved to a worldwide level of
Global. Yeah.
global. The two, three things I want to talk about here is
Sure.
the first is the culture, because when you
Hmm.
move from very regional sort of case management and people management, it
Hmm.
is restricted towards a typical culture, typical way of
Correct.
handling things. But when you go to
Correct.
a Asia Pacific level or a global level, the
Right.
culture varies, not only inside the
Correct.
company, outside the company. So
Absolutely.
that gives you a lot of learning also, because handling
Hmm.
things is not the same everywhere,
Hmm.
but the demand and expectation and the behavior may be same. But
Correct.
that way it was a great journey. And I always feel that in our professional career, it is not there is no finishing line. And every time we do a sprint, we feel that we are finishing that particular zone of delivery. But again, the
Hmm.
sprint starts again in the circle, where as we see a race inside the
Right.
stadium. That way, it's a continuous learning and continuous delivery to achieve things better and add value to people.
Right. Right. Thank you for being so candid with your response. And a question that came to my mind when you were answering is you've been in the thick of AI transformation. uh, it's a very exciting time for science and technology at the moment. And you were at a time, like you mentioned in your response, before AI, where everything was done manually, whether it came to research, whether it came to, implementations of policies and everything, where there was a lot of effort put into, processes, physically, manually, mentally as well. And now we are at a time where information is at your fingertips, and you have these varied apps that can provide you solutions, at the click of a button. Um, so, which brings me to my question. You've seen both the sides. Um, what is your take on, you know, those two different times? Like, what if there were takeaways from both of those times? What would they be for you then? And what is a takeaway for you now once we've had, like, an AI generation?
Yeah, I think a very good question, and I think it gives me an opportunity to experience both. Maybe I'm
Right.
blessed is one of the
Mm,
generation which have seen the floppy drives with the 5 quarter inch, and now as cloud space where nothing is visible in human eye, but everything is working behind.
right.
So when you compare these two, the primary thing which I feel is the delivery model or a business model is evolving, is
Mm,
transforming with the technology. And the
correct.
technology is pushing the business to adapt, deliver, and
Mm,
make it more human oriented, more social, economic oriented, and then bringing it back to the goodness for the economy and the world to excel.
mm,
But in that, obviously, the people started learning some languages in software, hardware embedded devices, uh,
mm, mm,
making cars in different models, in
mm,
different automobile industry, in medical science.
correct.
You see, everything is evolving, right? And the evolution is based on the technological as advancement and adaptability. So I
Mm,
feel the adaptability is first is the people and the process, which is always constant. The people has
mm,
evolved, that their learning has
mm,
evolved, their technology has evolved, and their
mm,
adaptability has maintained a process to go to the next level. But the
mm,
change, which is very important here now, I feel
mm,
is getting things faster, and
mm,
and sometimes it is more confusing. Sometimes
mm,
the AI tools are making the team more redundant in the system, because
mm, mm,
in our phase, a lot of things were done by hand. We used to write
mm,
our memos by hand, and now memos are generated by AI as a
mm,
summary. As soon as you finish
mm.
off a meeting, it's just a click of a button to get the information. So do you
Correct.
need presentations to be done by ourselves? Do you need summary of meetings to be done by ourselves? No.
Mm,
Then what should we do? We should do something which is required to be done for same phase of evaluation and
mm,
transformation, using these tools and making our life more faster and near to our goal.
right.
So I
Correct.
feel it's a in the long run, we were running faster but covering
Mm,
less distances. Now we are running again faster as per the technology is concerned, but we are
uh,
covering the distances much more.
got it. Understood. Right. Thank you for sharing that with us. But I'm a little curious when you look back. So, how do you define successful innovation? Would you define it by the numbers? Would you define it by the, um, being adaptable, or something deeper that tells you it truly made a difference? So, what's, successful innovation for you look like?
Okay, as you asked, I feel successful innovation has got two parts. One is innovation, one is success. Innovation always cannot bring success. It can be a very wow factor for something
Hmm.
which is very integrate to the design. Maybe somebody is getting a product or any consumable product, or somebody may be feeling wow about it. But the cost factor, the positioning, the market, the
Hmm.
adaptability of people, the usage of the demand, everything is
Hmm.
varying, right? So I feel the innovation is always kept keeping customers in mind. And
Hmm.
what I learned in my Lenovo days, especially, is keeping customers in center of decision making. So when you
Hmm.
keep customer in the center of decision making, even inside your meeting rooms, boardrooms, or discussing with the leaders to take
Hmm.
the next strategic step, that time it is very important that you keep customer in the center and see what their pain points are. So, and from
Right.
those pain points, how you can transform your business
Hmm.
acumen, your business expertise to
Hmm.
get that delivered to the level where it is required. And another thing is, which I feel is when you define your KPIs,
Yeah.
I have seen in phases that there are a lot of ways we can define our KPIs in the lead indicators, lag indicators, and how you define in the KPIs by business metrics, by ownership, by project, by delivery. But too many KPIs may jeopardize a little bit of the process, but very
Mm,
key KPIs which are required to be handled by individual stakeholders at different organization level has to be defined correctly. And obviously
mm,
the target also need to be defined differently so that the ROI is properly mapped and that
mm.
contribution leads to a cumulative success for the whole business chain. Like
Understood.
if I am a business leader, I'll be taking a reduction of a cost or improve of a business top line or on a
Mm,
GP to certain X numbers. Or
mm,
if I'm a customer experience leader, I'll say, okay, my CX should go 10% more, or I be always 90% and above. But
mm,
how do we do that? Who will do that? But for them,
mm.
that can be the end goal KPI. But when you define the KPI a little bit and measure it, I feel small steps, small measurements, and align to the people and the process is more important. Another thing,
Understood.
another thing, when you are innovating, you are innovating in two ways, right? One, you are innovating by solving a problem, and
Mm,
another way you are innovating is making the people ease of doing things. So when
mm,
you solve a problem, it is always external or maybe taking away the time of people and making them more available in that point of time for doing something else. Or you are making the same process more easier to the people so that they feel less impacted,
mm.
less burdened, and they can deliver it better in a long run. So I have seen in scenarios where AI bots are doing a better job and giving an assisted support to employees and people, where uh, they are not so much bothered about what to write, how to write, what to search, and making their life little more easy. And that has indirectly impacted the well-being part of employees in the organization. Maybe they may be going back home little more stable, and they may be coming back to office knowing what to do in a more
Mhm,
structured way, and that way the customers also know the end of the day where we stand and where we have to go tomorrow to take the action.
understood. Right. So I think that was such an insightful response, sort of clearly for you. Innovation isn't just about, ticking boxes. It's about creating something that will stand the test of time. It's something that moves people, changes their lives, solves problems. And also, what I understood is that you've clearly focused on creating ecosystems that, run deep. uh, Sort of moving on to the next question now, whether in CX, knowledge or service delivery, what's been your approach to designing systems that actually outlast individuals and keep delivering long after you step back?
As I earlier told you, right, keeping customer in center of all decisions, and those
Right.
are
Okay.
strategic decisions. So when you keep your customer in the center, you are not actually keeping the customer as such. You are actually bringing the pain point of the customer in the center and aligning
Mm,
your business transformation to that requirement. So if you do
understood.
something which is great for your company, but it may not be great for your customer, or other way
Mm,
around, it is very good for your customer. They're very happy with the cost, the product, the usage,
mm,
but it is not giving you right revenues. So,
understood.
so both way it need to balance. And then when I look at CX as a, critical factor, the
Mm,
design aspect, I think every company must be doing a customer journey roadmap along
mm,
with an employee journey roadmap. Means if an employee is aligned to a business model, in sales, in service, and in any of the interactive market space. Both of the scenarios, how they are defining with different touch points. So more you are adapting to new technologies, your touch points are reducing. Like in
mm,
my older days, I have seen my parents and my grandparents and all, they're going to bank every day almost, or
mm.
post offices. Now hardly people go to bank.
Correct.
Everything is online. So we should avoid interactions and still make the business run as per the desired level. So I feel that is very important to define those touch points, and in those touch points how the pain points are there, and from the pain points what is your solution to the employee and the customer to make it
Mm,
better. And once it is done, obviously a platform is generated of for a solution to move forward. Like I spoke about AI bot. I was exposed to a knowledge management, unified knowledge management system. We have created email bots. We have created such things to make within within our company the employees more
mm,
effective,
mm,
engaging, and by that customers are more getting information on time, and
right.
maybe reducing the lags which are generated in a physical or manual process handling.
Mm,
So that way, the knowledge is important to pick up whenever it is required, in what
mm,
form, and how to deliver that knowledge to whom, at in what format. And if we can
mm,
utilize our innovation, AI is doing a lot for that, including
mm,
videos, text, language
mm.
translations, and bringing everybody together in one space. And we can make use of these tools the best way. I think it will be always long term. And the
Right.
last point I want to talk about is when you design any model, we always think about 3 to 5 years business benefits, but there
Understood.
should be a process by which we also look at that the model should not be redundant. Means we should not spend the money to create a model, create a process, and tomorrow we cannot scale it up. We have to throw it
Mm,
off and invest again from the scratch to make it new or make it
mm.
different. So if it is scalable, if it is flexible, if then I think it is more adaptable to the system. So the versions, the different dimensions of the requirements can be integrated with the within the model, and the model can change to make the adaptive life more easy.
Right, right. I think that was a very thoughtful take, Saurav, and very you've articulated it really well about building for the moment and building for the long haul. Sort of speaking of systems that truly serve people. Now, you've mentioned that you've mapped customer journeys across markets and cultures, and you've definitely, with experience and the research that you've put in, you've talked about pain points and all that experience. What's one big myth about customer experience that you feel needs to be called out or addressed?
Yeah, in the last 10 to 15 years phase, this customer experience is also evolving, right? So customer experience is becoming more digital savvy.
Mm,
Customers are not becoming more impatient. We as a
mm,
customer are becoming more impatient. We cannot wait. We need
mm,
things in a tip of my scroll or finger or swipe. So
mm,
the
mm,
biggest myth I feel is when we see that good customers experience is universally
mm.
understood, and it is delivered the same way across the geos, across the platforms, across different languages. I think that's a great myth. It is not that way.
Mm,
As I
mm,
mentioned earlier, that culture plays a big role. The generation
mm,
which is evolving now, the student generation, the younger
mm,
kids who are more exposed to the new technologies,
mm,
their demand as a customer will be totally different than the people who are senior citizen of our country. So when we try to give a solution to all of these people together to meet their demand, I think
mm,
it is not uniform. So, as a company, we have to talk about the expressions of the tool or expression of the interactions, how we make it more interactive and easy
mm,
at every stage. Somebody may know what they need to order, and somebody then don't know to what they don't know to order, right? They need assistance. So how you do prioritization within the system, how we keep the system and your technology and your transformation more flexible to meet the demand in all scale, and then how you deliver this throughout the journey of the people who are demanding at any point of time. So more
mm,
you are flexible, I think more you can make it better. So like I felt that people are not buying Nike shoes because of Nike as a brand. Maybe the feeling of being an athlete, if you have a human body, you can be an athlete and you buy a shoe, and that Nike is driving it. To be freedom, like Harley Davidson talks about, right? If
mm.
you're a person, you should be free, like a bird,
Yeah,
and that connects you back to the brand and the product. So you can be a
correct.
younger generation just passed out of college, or maybe a older person who has done a long bike rides. Both can be desired to ride that type of bike in a long road. So I think we have to attach the sentiment also at every point of time and see how we can create a very good journey experience for each type of genre of customers. And when you are creating a solution, our focus should be defined by market, by customer, by their location, their requirement, and we have to definitely look at how we can customize it and make it more adaptive to that environment. So
Right.
mindset within the company is also very important, because the culture can have a flat mind
Mm,
platform for people to come up to the
mm,
organization level. But within the culture, if I build a CX culture, everybody is customer centric. But
mm,
mindset to change, mindset
mm,
to have a growth mindset, I'm talking about, mindset
mm,
to focus on core values,
mm.
and how you transform them to a specific practice journey to make the tool or the innovation more effective. I think that
Right,
will come from the people who are there as an employee.
right. Sort of this brings to mind a question. When you talked about, creating customer experiences, where does one draw the line between, creating a very aspirational brand to, not misleading the customer? Like, so how does one draw the line and show them also what is reality, but also show them that this is possible even for you, regardless of where you are in life or what you do?
Yeah, nothing is free in this world. So I feel everybody knows to pay a certain amount of value for what they get. And when you talk about value, the brand value and the product value and the human touch value also is very important in deciding. It's a very much deciding factor, I feel, while
Mm,
taking away the inclination of a
mm,
customer towards a brand. And
mm,
and in that point of time, two things are very important. We're drawing a line means when you will deliver what at, and that is very important, right? The customer
mm,
wants to fly today to maybe US, and the ticket may be costing the highest. But
mm,
if the customer is planning ahead of time, and he may get a good deal.
mm,
So, so how you create your demand cycle adjusted to the requirement of the customer is important. But that way, if you have customers who are giving you repeat businesses, customer who are loyal, customer
mm.
long term, and you can definitely design some
Correct.
subscription model, something related to that
Yeah,
customer to make the customer feel that they are valuable,
valued. Correct.
uh,
Right,
valued. Yeah.
right.
So that is very important. So it is nothing
Mm,
free. Everybody should pay, but pay for what they get, and they always should get more value of what they pay.
right, right. Understood. Uh, Now, Saurav, you've built a legacy, you've worked across teams, tools, and global strategies. And we are wondering what's next for you. Uh, do you see yourself stepping into more strategic boardroom level roles in the future? Do you envision something on a more personal level, something that drives you, something that you're building towards? So, what's keeping you excited for what's ahead?
Yeah, for me, uh, obviously, in different roles, when you work for a large organization, your organizational team is your boardroom. Because when you
Hmm.
do a planning for the next year, when
Hmm.
you take decisions, there is a lot of debate happens, what to adapt, what not to adapt, how much to invest, what not to invest, and where to save, where not to save, and that way
Hmm.
you how you move forward. But
Hmm.
my aspiration is obviously to keep evolving with the requirements and always look through the process by which in next 2 to 3 years where I want to take myself, and while
Hmm.
I'm taking myself to the next step, where the people around me are moving forward, are we in the same direction? So if we are not in the same direction, obviously either they or me will be left alone. So that is one path I will need to follow, and it's a great learning for me because initially I never thought when I joined the company in my college days that I have to learn AI. But now when I'm learning and adapting to AI, I have to think that way forward what. Maybe
Correct.
maybe coding may not be the right thing to do now because mostly it is done and this is not the right way to take care of. But obviously, when you take decisions, since my experience has got some exposure to the life of our customer, our enterprise business, our company, how their governance works, so I think I need to focus mostly to understand how the corporate governance also is getting adapted to AI securities, AI tools,
Hmm.
how AI can be more flexible to customers where their internal data is more well secured and then they are ready to share. And then if they share, then how we can grow better. Like in medical science, if you see, a lot of people should be more proactive in stopping their diseases to go further and impact them and
Hmm.
make them live long. So
Hmm.
for that, the data source should be more available. Like in our system, like Lenovo or any other computer manufacturing system,
Hmm.
in a critical demand scenario, there are tools which keeps monitoring the system and sends alerts to the backend team to see if
Hmm.
something is not fail and how can you proactively
Hmm.
replace the devices, fix the issues so that your downtime is minimized, your business goes on. And one thing I learned, in fact, in the later phase of time, that BAU equal input is equal to BAU output, when everybody used to say, but BAU input is not always BAU output, because your input at this point of time, even if you give X, the demand is always 2X. So you
Hmm.
have to give something extra to make sure your output is with a lot of values and lot of long-term strategic benefit so that it keeps on evolving and transforming for continuing the business for long. Yeah.
So one thing that comes across in all your responses is longevity, sustainability, which is, you know, a segue to my next question. Now, given your experience leading cross-functional teams and overseeing high-impact transformations, um, I'm curious, how do you see the role of corporate governance evolving in today's very tech-driven customer-first world? Now, especially with AI, automation, which are reshaping decision making, where do you think governance fits in to ensure both innovation and accountability stay balanced?
I think we are in a very critical juncture now. A lot of people are maybe confused in the market that where we will go, what will happen to us. uh,
Mm.
nothing will be evolving, because when we are in a dot-com boom, we are saying www as a network evolving in our face. And it was a shock initial stage, but everybody forgot and we
Yeah.
moved on. And this also phase will move on. AI is just like an actor; it's not a showstopper. Uh, and I feel the governance model will be more cohesive, and the changes we need to bring in is the identifying the risks, because
Mm,
the model which is created earlier may not be adapting to the changes which AI or the new technology can bring into the socio-economic changes. So I feel the accountability is very important for AI tools, because everybody is creating a tool. The open
mm,
source code is available to all the organizations to do something of their own. But
mm,
with ultimately, are we identifying the right risk of the failure? And
mm,
are we defining that whatever we are taking risk, that is properly secured and properly taken care of on the governance of data security, or data evolving through the changes which we are adopting in the the tool engagement. So I feel intervention mandates are very important, because the policymakers should be more intervening within the companies, and companies should work more with the policymakers, so that there is a synergy between them. And
mm,
every company should have their own data set of information which should be taken care of through this governance and policies, and that
mm,
should be properly disclosed and be transparent to the customers, because customers then only will be keep buying the products which are more looking and peeping in and assisting the customer on a daily life.
mm,
So the customer centricity will again now here will be added to the governance. So governance is the trust which should generate within the company, within those boardrooms, within those decision and policymakers, will give a trust back to their stakeholders, their customers. Yeah, what we're doing, we are doing the best. We are doing secure. We are doing reliable, and then
mm.
only this transformation journey will move to the next level.
Understood. I think your response is a reminder that responsible innovation isn't just about systems, it's about the people, it's about intent and integrity. As we wrap up the episode, we'd love to hear about your experience with Directors Institute. What inspired you to join the program, and how has it supported or enhanced your career path, especially as you look towards, possible boardroom opportunities and strategic leadership ahead? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, before I give a feedback about Institute of Directors, I want to also mention that I always tell the team at this phase of time, as I mentioned, the risk is the factor which we need to look at. And I
Agreed.
define risk a little bit in a different way.
Yeah.
I tell risk, R stands for, like for me, a resilience, because whenever take a decision or a policy, resilience is important within the team.
Mm,
Second, for me, I stands for innovation, because innovation is unstoppable. You have to keep
mm,
evolving, and even if you want to stop, you cannot stop it. Somebody will be evolving. So innovation is important. And then A stands for strategy, because if you don't have a proper strategy, you cannot bring the innovation in place, and you cannot bring the people in place to drive that innovation. And finally, K for me is knowledge. So when I talk to the
right.
team, I always say the knowledge is important, but so much of knowledge is there now. We need to understand who needs what at what point of time,
Understood.
and make it usable for the future and for humankind. So for self, so many in social media is so much of knowledge. Coming back to your point of Institute of Directors, it's my first interaction,
Okay.
and it should be as of now it's very happy and nice. I feel the people are quite professional, and we are interacting quite well, and hopefully moving forward we'll have a nice journey and a good experience.
Great. That's wonderful to hear. And it's very enabling, and it's always powerful when experienced leaders such as yourself find the time, they find new layers of insight and readiness through programs like this. It just means that learning shouldn't stop regardless of experience, age. I think that should continue growing and evolving. With that, Saurav, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing not just your journey, but your mindset, your beliefs, your value systems, and one that really blends innovation with intention and leadership with legacy so seamlessly. Your insights around customer experience, AI, governance, building future ready systems have been incredibly valuable. And I know our audience will walk away with a lot to reflect on. So, Saurav, thank you once again for joining us on FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me and nice talking to you. Have a nice rest of your day. Thank you.
The pleasure was all ours as well. And to everyone tuning in, we hope this episode gave you a front row seat into what leadership looks like when it's driven by both clarity and curiosity. And if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to follow FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast by Directors Institute where we bring you voices that are shaping the boardrooms of tomorrow. Until next time, this is your host, Priya George, signing off. Stay curious, stay future ready. Thank you.